Hey guys, it's me, Dominique, coming at you with my review recap for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 6. You guys know I'm off on the episode, so the newest episode will just be in the title. Well, the episode So this most recent episode begins with the continuation of the argument between Greg and Peter. And, Nene basically comes in, and I think, to me, I personally feel like Nene comes in and Nene escalates the situation even more than it's already been escalated by getting in Peter's face and by calling Peter a bitch and just by saying all this other stuff she was saying. Now, Cynthia comes in and is like, basically, if you had, like I said last review, if you had something to say, Greg, you should have just said it then. Why wait until you let it build up and it's bothered you and now you want to say something? So she was right about that. And then as the scene goes on, you see that Greg starts to saying, like, I already had, like, Greg starts to tell Peter, I had the situation handled. You didn't have to do anything. Basically, he felt some type of way about Peter checking Nene the way he should have checked Nene. I guess that's like we were saying. So I guess he felt like Peter was honing in on his territory as Nene's husband by checking her, because he felt like he should have been the one checking Nene and the only one checking Nene. The only man checking Nene. Is them back in Atlanta. Well, Kandi's back in Atlanta, and Kandi, talking about rehearsals. Kandi's back to business, and she's talking about rehearsals, and she's talking about Porsha's contract and Porsha's contract not being signed and what's going on. And she's talking to Don Juan, and Don Juan is basically like, Porsha has some very ridiculous requests for her part in the play and what she's requesting from us as, I guess, the production and stuff like that. So that scene goes on. Porsha comes in and Porsha's basically saying, well, yeah, I seen the contract. The revisions were basically my lawyer and not really me. But, if y'all wanted to accept what my lawyer is saying, then yeah, I'm with it. And it just seems like Porsha is just showing her more and more ditzy side. And then Kandi, like, I'm proud of Kandi for the way Kandi handled this situation with Porsha, because as we remember from seasons before, when she had a business friendship thing going with Kim, where she was helping Kim. Well, she made a song for Kim, and Kim made all this money off the song, and she only got a small piece, but she did most of the work. So I'm glad that Kandi gained a better business sense this time around when it comes to dealing with friends and your business and your money. It also says a lot that Kandi is willing to share a dressing room with D Woods and Porsha, whereas the bigger names are the only ones who have a dressing room. Because at the same token, even though this is your money you putting out, this is your money. So a lot of things can be downsized and minimized. So you feel like, the only people who really need the dressing room per se is the bigger names, which are Gerald Levert and Shirley Murdoch. Goes into Cynthia and Peter and Nene and Greg, and it's back and forth between the different households, and they are basically reenactment, or them basically telling the story about how things happened and what happened and how they felt about it. So of course Cynthia is with the passive aggressive shit, and she's just doing like, oh well, basically like Peter is telling Cynthia, you need to check her for disrespecting me because you're a woman, she's a woman, and she's already feeling some type of way about me even speaking to y'all. So as a woman and as my wife, you need to check her. And Cynthia is more like, oh well, I just don't want to be friends with her. Like, she just don't want to deal with it because she's very passive aggressive. And then the scene goes on. Now, Nene does make a point in saying that Peter is always involved in their stuff and is always involved in their business. But now that I think about it, and as you guys know, I watch other people's reviews and what other people have to say as far as their show. Although I watch it after I actually record my review, so like my thoughts aren't tainted from the stuff I've heard. I'm not saying like tainted in a bad way. Basically saying whatever I feel about the show, whatever I think about the show, I get it out first before I go ahead and watch somebody else's review. And I watch their review and I'm like, damn, I was thinking the same thing. I said the same thing in my video. Or, yeah, I didn't even think about that. So, basically, my point of the matter of this was saying that how Kevin on the Scorpion show here on YouTube was saying that Peter makes for good TV, which is true. Peter does all the stuff that Cynthia is supposed to do as far as basically keeping up the drama and saying stuff that others won't say. But because Cynthia won't do it, Peter does it, because at the end of the day, Peter makes for good TV, and Peter knows that if he isn't doing that on the show the way he does it, there wouldn't really be a spot for them on the show, because Cynthia is always the neutral, ass-kissing, everybody's friend person. So, like, Cynthia being on the show would be boring, per se, if it wasn't for her husband doing what he does and being up all in women's business. So the next scene goes into Kandi and some of the crew from the play going back to her old high school and picking students to be a part of the play, which I thought was really cool. I also thought it was cool that, you know, the school made such a big production, you know, with Kandi coming back. Because I always think, as a person, I would think as myself going back to my high school and being honored like that. And here I was a couple of years, 20 years ago, whatever, and I was right here where everybody else was sitting and doing everything, and, you know, thinking like, here, look at me now, and I was just one of these. Well, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I thought it was really cool how that whole scene went. I got teary-eyed when Kandi met up with her old teacher, and I just thought everything was really nice how everything went down. But you can tell, like, I'm not surprised that they talked about the way Kandi was a good student, or the way Kandi talked about how she was, like, you know, she had her GPA and her average, and the fact that she was working so hard in school, because you can tell by her work ethic now, after gaining her success with Escape and writing songs for people and doing all this other stuff, you can tell that out of the whole group of Escape, it's like you could tell Kandi made it her business, even though she had her baby early in this, she made it her business to say, look, I'm still this person. I have to have a backup plan. So, yeah, I'm on tour with my group, and we doing this and we doing that, but I still got to go to school, because just in case this singing thing don't work out, I still want to be able to go to college or whatever, whatnot. So, you can tell because of her work ethic now, you can tell that she was that person who went the extra mile as far as touring and going to school at the same time to make sure, because, like she said on her Instagram page when she put up a throwback picture, it was important to her for her to graduate and walk across the stage. So it was important for her to do what she had to do in school, to graduate and walk when she was supposed to walk, and it was important for her to do her singing with Escape. So the next scene is Kenya and Marlo, and they're in Kenya's house, and she's telling them about the trip, and she's saying how they were so phony, and Kenya, you were phony too. And she was like, oh, next time, instead of paying for my frenemies, I'll pay for Marlo. Marlo, who's my friend. First of all, Kenya, the show paid for that trip, and you know it. That's the one. Because what person in their right mind, don't care how much money you got, you don't like people, you're not going to pay. You're not going to pay for them and their husbands and everybody. No, the show sponsored that trip, so spare me. Then the whole scene comes in with the parent coach. The whole scene comes in with the parent coach. And first thing, Kenya asks, oh, why did you bring me a black baby and not a brown? Kenya, you're black. Like, when Kenya says certain things and acts certain ways and tries to come for people that she deems to be ghetto, it just seems like she's trying to run so far away from a certain past and tries to come off like she's a person that she may not be all the way sure that she really is. So, I just was, like, disgusted when she said that. Like, when she said that, I thought about Porsha. When Porsha was talking about the Underground Railroad actually being a train. Prepared, you think you're going to be, Kenya. I always say this to people, because I'm a parent myself. No matter how secure you try to make yourself and how much you try to prepare to be a parent, you're never going to be 100% prepared for everything involving parenting and raising children. No matter what mindset you have before you have children or how you're going to raise them, after you actually have these human beings, things are different. And then you see at the end of that scene. Next scene is Phaedra. And I was actually surprised to see this scene with Phaedra because I wasn't even sure how her whole business was going. But as you can see, Phaedra is still in the business of death. And she met up with the guy and talked about that. And then she talks about everything that she's doing. And I'm coming to realize, Phaedra, you doing so much and you have so much on your plate, and you talk about how you're not saying, something is taking a back seat. And you know what's taking a back seat, Phaedra? Your marriage that seems like it wasn't even built on a solid foundation, because you and Apollo don't even look like y'all was on the same page. And the more things reveal itself about Apollo's past and your past, the more it seems like you and Apollo was just messing around and you happen to get pregnant or whatever happened and y'all ended up getting married, because y'all foundation don't seem all the way solid. It seems really shaky. So for the fact that your foundation was already shaky within your relationship with your husband and your marriage, you got all this going on as far as business wise. He has all this going on as far as business wise. And then you guys have a baby, and then you have another baby. It's like, maybe you need to, if your marriage is what you want, maybe you need to take a step back. And I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out with Apollo's new arrest and all this stuff that's going on with them. I'm very interested to see, because I just feel like that relationship is just, from me as an outsider looking in, watching on TV, it just seems like it's going down, and it's going down fast. The next scene is rehearsals. Kandi is there, Gerald Levert is there, everybody else is there but Porsha. Porsha, it's like you're the least, to me, you're like the least important person that's a part of the show, and you're not there. Like, you're the biggest part of the show. Like, the show won't go on without you. So it's crazy that, like, I feel like Porsha, at this point that I'm watching on TV, I feel like Porsha has not taken this opportunity that Kandi has given her very seriously, because Kandi has given you an opportunity to make some money and to build your brand and to be something besides Cordell Stewart's ex-wife or beard. So, like, why are you just, like, saying, like, you acting like it's not even important to be at rehearsals? Like, you just got this. You've never done this before. So you should be at rehearsals first day, first quarter, period. And just be grateful for the opportunity and try to maximize on the opportunity. I just think it's crazy that you just acting like it ain't nothing. And then you could tell the producers are so messy with the way that they edited. Like, I'm sitting here, I don't want to think that the day that Porsha missed rehearsal, she went to the club. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the day that they filmed her in the club with her sister and her friends was not the same day that she was supposed to be out of rehearsal. But the way they edited that part, it was to make it seem like that's what it was. And then that whole scene with that guy, and I just think, for me, I feel like the guy was hardly an actor, because you could tell he was coming off as phony to me. So he's seen the cameras. He probably didn't know who Porsha and her clique was, and he's seen the cameras, and he said, okay, let me go ahead and jump on this opportunity. That's why I feel about that whole scenario with that guy that Porsha was talking to in the club. Okay, so the last scene of this episode was Peter and Cynthia meeting up with Greg and Nee. So they come in and things seem sort of kind of rocky. It is like Cynthia doesn't really want to deal with the situation, but because her husband is like, man, basically Cynthia don't want to deal with this situation, but Peter's like, but damn, you got to defend me against this woman. Like, she's a woman, you're a woman, you got to deal with this. And I just feel like Cynthia is just so soft. Because she goes in a situation. Peter and Nene, I guess, drink the same drink. Peter orders his drink. And she like, should I order something for Nene? And he like, nah, man. Just leave that alone. She go order her own drink, whatever. Whatever. The drink comes. She gives Peter's drink to Nene. Like, bitch, this bitch called your husband a bitch. You do not owe Nene no courtesy. Why are you kissing Nene's ass? Regardless of Nene is your friend or not, in this situation, Nene was wrong. So, you giving Nene any common courtesy was much not needed, Cynthia. You didn't even have to do that. You shouldn't have done it. But, as the situation goes on, they speak, they hash everything out. I want to say, yeah, Nene was wrong. Nene was wrong for the way she approached Peter, Cynthia's husband, a man. But in the same token, Nene does make sense in the things that she says. But as we know, like I said it before, like I heard the Scorpion show say, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, Kevin from the Scorpion show says, which makes a lot of sense. Peter makes for good TV because he does the stuff that Cynthia is supposed to be doing to keep up the drama, to keep them on the show. So yeah, that is it for my review. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them below or in my inbox or wherever you want to. Until next video, I'm out.